We are very pleased tonight to award Sister Helen Prejean our award. Our first non-Jesuit to receive the award. Our first woman to receive the award. If I may read a little bit more, Sister Helen Prejean, a religious sister of the Congregation of St. Joseph, began her prison ministry in 1981 when she dedicated her life to the poor of New Orleans. Since then, she has committed to educating citizens about the death penalty and counseling individual death row prisoners. She has accompanied 6 men to their deaths. In 1994, Sister Helen turned her experiences into the book titled Dead Man Walking, an eyewitness account of the death penalty, which was later developed into a major motion picture starring Susan Sarandon as Sister Helen Prejean and Sean Penn as the death row inmate. That movie received 4 Oscar nominations. Sister Helen later wrote a second book, The Death of Innocents, an eyewitness account of wrongful executions, which was published in December 2004 and describes her experiences of accompanying 2 men to their executions and continues her work as a passionate storyteller when speaking tours throughout the U.S. She's presently working on her next work, River of Fire, My Spiritual Journey. Sister Helen has spoken at nearly all of the 28 Jesuit universities in the United States and received honorary degrees from 11. Marquette, Regis, Loyola New Orleans, Spring Hill, Wheeling Jesuit, University of Scranton, University of San Francisco, College of the Holy Cross, Gonzaga, and Georgetown. She's also received awards from Fordham, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, John Carroll, and Loyola Chicago. Sister Helen initially became connected with the Ignatian Solidarity Network by speaking to thousands of young people at our annual Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice. In 2003 at the Teach-In, she formally introduced the Dead Man Walking School Theater Project. And consequently, Jesuit high schools were some of the first institutions in the U.S. to perform the play. She returned to the Teach-In in 2010 in Washington, D.C., and continues to be one of the most impactful keynote speakers over the course of 15 years of our teach-ins. Tonight, we recognize Sister Helen Prejean for her significant leadership for social justice grounded in faith, illustrated through her passionate advocacy to end capital punishment, most notably through her writing and public speaking in the United States and abroad. On behalf of the Ignatian Solidarity Network Board of Directors, it is my great honor to recognize Sister Helen Prejean as the 2013 Robert M. Holstein Faith Doing Justice Award winner.
About getting an award is, you know it's a servant role in the sense that you're like a prism and you shoot the light through me and it brings you right to death row here in Louisiana, all across this country. Solidarity is about getting in there with the people who are suffering. Solidarity is about leaving and crossing over to be with those who suffer, so that their suffering can turn our hearts on fire and we can give our lives over to something much bigger than us. Almost everybody in here comes out of privilege. We've loved into being by our parents, we were given an education. Many of us have learned to be articulate, to work, to have agency in the world, to make change. That comes out of privilege. And what will we use, as Mary Oliver says, we've been given one wild, precious life, and what are we going to use it for? And what I love about Bob Holstein or anybody that takes an idea and makes it into action, acts out of it. The world is crying for our action, for our reaching out. We have the biggest murder capital in the world, I mean in the United States, right here in New Orleans. This Cafe Reconcile has been to help young people coming out of prison. If you have felony on your record, you go to get a job, and I've seen it operating. The sub-economy, when the mainstream economy isn't working for you, is you do drugs. It's a sub-economy. It's the way people make a living. And then, of course, you make it a felony. Read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow. Many, many more white people than people of color do drugs in this country. But the massive incarceration is of people of color, mostly men of color, for drugs, because drugs were made a felony. And Michelle Alexander calls it the New Jim Crow, because when you get out of prison with a felony on your record, you can't get public assistance, you can't get housing, you can't get food stamps, you go to an employer and you can't get a job, and in some states you can't even vote. And that's why she called it Jim Crow, because you permanently then are not a full citizen of the United States with all the rights and liberties. Systems is what kills people. And we got to understand those systems. And we got to insert ourselves in there to begin to make a change. That's what justice is about. It's much more than charity and feeling sorry for people. And it's much more than just writing a check, though that's important. We just 3,000 short of gold tonight, by the way. 37, we got 34. What do we have? What is the total?
We're at 34.
34.
We need 37.
We just need 37. So, you know, some of you sitting here, and you know who you are. But Joseph Campbell in The Power of Myth called money congealed energy. I mean, money is that. It helps translate into programs, into things that matter. The best congealed energy in the world is us. Human beings make a difference. So I'm real clear tonight. You know, think of me as a prism, and look at Bob Holstein, and look at the young people of this country who are waiting for us to awaken them, because they want to give their hearts over to something that's big and worth giving their life to. Much bigger than our small little agendas or our own little happiness, but to get involved and to be blessed with passion is maybe the greatest gift God could ever give us, because it seizes us, it's bigger than us, and we got to follow it, and our boat gets on the current of the wave, and we have the wind whistling through our hair, and we're committed because we have to be. I'm here, I have watched 6 human beings be strapped down either on a gurney or in a chair and killed. And I've seen and know better now the stories of the guards who have to do the killing, and it's all secret. We don't see anything. It's a secret ritual behind prison walls, and the only way is to be there, be a witness, and wake each other up. Because if we can get it about the death penalty, we're going to get it about a lot of the deepest wounds in this country. Racism is in it, overwhelmingly when you kill white people. Only poor people are selected to die. And then maybe the deepest wound of all is that we still feel, we're the only Western industrialized country in the world, that still feel that the way you solve social problems is violence. And it's the ultimate disrespect of victims to tell them. And you wait 15, 20 years. And then what we're going to do for you is we're going to call you in, and you get to send a representative, and you get to witness now as we kill the one who killed your loved one, and that is going to heal you. That is going to make you whole. What a terrible, illusory disrespect for victims to think that they could be healed by violence. And they get caught up in these currents, and they're in trauma, and they're alone. We have to reach out. I always think of it as the ultimate Christian symbol. There are 2 arms on this cross. And we got to be reaching out to the victims who are suffering with real help, with counseling, 70% of people who lose a child get divorced. Whatever fault lines are in the marriage, it's going to break apart. They have different ways even of grieving. And on the other hand, the other side, the perpetrators. Can we reach out to both? Cafe reconcile. To bring the two together to be for justice means we never let ourselves get caught in the polarities that this country offers us. Choose which side you're on, the victim or the one who did the crime. So everybody sitting in here tonight, all of us brought together through this, through Bob and Loretta, who comes to these things because of her heart is as wide as Bob's was. Isaiah said, you know, widen your tent. Widen the space of your tent. So Loretta, we know the size of your tent. I don't know how many of these things you come to, but boy, cheers with the hand.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And so thank you. You know,
We have a little toast we're going to do, so I'm going to invite our volunteer servers to begin serving. But while they're doing that, I just want to say, you talked about people being touched, people being inspired. And every time I ask someone who has gone to a teach-in, an Ignatian Family Teach-in for Justice, what speakers inspired you? They always say, Sister Helen. Now, the thing is, Sister Helen has only spoken in 2003, 2010. So my next question is, what year did you go? And they'll give me some year. And sometimes it's 2003 and 2010, but other times,
they're making
I think it happens through osmosis or something. So anyway, I want to just say to Sister Helen and to all those who work with her and support her, what an important part of the Ignatian family you have been part of, and how grateful we are for your presence and your continued witness. So we have our volunteer servers, also known as our younger board members, are delicately Sister Helen's favorite drink. All right, is everyone good? We toast Sister Helen for her passionate voice for justice, her care and concern for human dignity, and for being a person who calls each of us and challenges each of us to seek out the human dignity throughout our world in all people. And we
come on, Chris.